there are huge satanic cults going on in this country. We were in Colorado Springs. One of our team members is a victim. She's an overcomer. She is a girl that, had 2 babies that were sacrificed in front of her. She's got a book called Silent No More, Lindsay. She's an amazing young woman. She actually broke the satanic area where she was when we were in Colorado. So we got to understand, like, my drive right now is going to be getting into these churches. I'm going to drive churches absolutely bizarre because I am done with this fake Christian, nonsense, leading their people in the wrong direction and lying to them and not being fake Christians. When I was working in the Catholic Church, this was exposed to me. That's why I testified against the Catholic Charities, because Catholic Charities is a nefarious organization, and it is a lie to the Catholics, and the hypocrisy's got to stop. We cannot fix this country unless we fix these churches and stop this hypocrisy that's going on. It's terrible. It's leading people to the wrong side, to the dark side.
I always thought it was kind of crazy because when, excuse me, when they talked about child separation, family separation, the argument from the right, from the Trump supporters was, or from the administration, we don't know that these people are related. Just because there's a child crossing a border and there's a man there does not mean that man is related to this person. And so, obviously we want to find out if this is a trafficking victim or maybe it's a child. And the media played it up like Trump was intentionally separating kids to punish people.
That's right.
And then you have, I think that's.
Well, there was no DNA. I mean, they stopped. He was doing DNA and vetting, but now when Biden comes in, there's no DNA and vetting. Mm-hmm. They stopped it all. Like
the other big thing, too, is when you get arrested, your kids don't go to jail with you.
Yeah.
That's like the weirdest thing ever, that they're like, no, send the kids to the same jail. It's like, well, I mean, the kids shouldn't go to jail. The kids are going to go to a holding facility, and the people who committed the crime will, go to it.
I'm going to tell you a story that one of our members was down on the border, and this is a very important story. And this is early on when the Biden administration came in, and things started changing radically down on the border. All hell broke loose down there. The doors were opened. Every criminal, everything was let them in. Okay. An investigator was down there, and he was standing around one of the areas in the border, and he fell into the ground. He sunk. His feet sunk. And when he looked down, he pulled his foot up, and what does he do? He discovers a little body. Ooh. He starts to kick the dirt around, bends down, and discovers it's a baby that had been gutted, literally.
Oh, my God.
So he looks down across the landscape, and he discovers bumps in the landscape. So this is a ground where the cartel and the criminals are taking babies from people, because this is what they do. And we know the stories of, women that come across these borders and their children are taken, and for money. I mean, they're threatened. Their lives are threatened. It's a very disgusting, evil thing that's going on. And people need to understand this is the most evil time in our life. It's actually biblical right now. And we need to understand the depths of the evil. And children are the victim. They're the most way that believing, I'm a heavy believer. My faith is very strong. You have to have faith to get through the stuff that we see and go through in our lives. My family's been persecuted. We had to have faith, and you got to understand that this is a piercing of Christ's heart to get a child. The old saying, you put a millstone around your neck. I'd rather put a millstone around my neck and throw you in the ocean if you hurt a child. And that's really where we're at. We're at a time period where it's got to end. They do everything they can do to use that baby. And by the way, abortion is another issue. I'm going to throw this out at you. Let me throw this at you. This is used in child trafficking. It's not just, feminists want, their bodies, women want their bodies, and I got free rights and all that. This is even worse. They got little girls down there, they're breeding. So they're breeding babies, and they're bringing them over, and they're sending them into abortion clinics. So, James O'Keefe broke stories about Planned Parenthood a long time ago. Nobody listened to him. Nobody listened to what they were doing with those baby parts.
Well,
so
the left doesn't want to listen.
No, but people need to understand that there's a lot of people that have exposed things in the past that we need to understand is not conspiracy anymore. There is no more conspiracy. It's been happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And I heard, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't remember exactly when it was. It was probably about a year ago, listening to Tom Homan. I was at an event he was at. And I think just most people don't realize the depth of depravity of people. And Tom got teary-eyed talking about an 18-month-old. And this 18-month-old, who was no longer alive, had been raped in every orifice. This is an 18-month-old.
Jeez.
And people don't realize the depth of what's happening. They don't know what's happening to the kids. Kids were telling us about the sexual assaults that they had been through coming to our border. And then once they're here in our care, there are NGOs. DOJ just indicted some folks at Southwest Key, which is one of the largest Latino-led NGOs, for raping children in their care as young as 5. Yeah. I think people just don't understand what's really happening. I think the average person doesn't have a category for like who is going to rape a 3 or 4 or 5-year-old.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, so subscribe and come hang out.